sinners and saints. Dust off those horns and halos. It's time for Alley After Dark.
One of the things that strikes me as almost unbelievable when it comes to a member of the LGBTQIA community that supports Trump, the orange turd, is a member of MAGA, as how they're so eager and willing to spew lies, fabrications, untruths, and try to deny or pretend like you're not presenting them with actual facts. The other night at happy hour, these guys were sitting over from us, and we were making conversation, and it was very friendly. And this guy that I had never seen before, he said that he had bought a house recently in an area in the country, sort of in the middle of any of the big cities in the state of Tennessee. My friends and I, we kind of looked at each other and like, oh God. And we just tried to offer him a little advice that while there can be plenty of friendly people, there are a lot of dangerous people in Tennessee. There are fascists, there are Klansmen, there are every kind of white supremacist group you can think of that exist here. And to even try to pretend like those groups don't hate gay people is just delusion. It's just ridiculous to believe that they wouldn't want to harm a gay person, because we've seen it over the years. Sure, it has improved in a lot of places in Tennessee, especially in the cities where they are more liberal and people are more educated, open-minded, and not as gullible to propaganda and myths and lies. But the guy immediately became defensive, and he said, I came from Los Angeles, LA, and it is by far more dangerous than here. And I just gave him a double look, and I'm like, no, it's not. You might have what seems to be like more crime because you have so many more people in the LA area. But no, if you look at actual rates, you'll see that it's nowhere near the worst place. And he just about came unglued saying, you're wrong. I feel much safer here. I never felt safe there. And have you ever lived in California? And all this stuff. And I just said, well, we all have this thing the kids all use called smartphones. Most of us have iPhones. I said, well, we could Google crime rates and murder rates and how each area ranks. And so I pull up actual government statistics, and I said, well, no, see here, I've got the states here, and Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee are three of the states that have the highest murder rates in the country. And in fact, it's almost all the southern states have higher murder rates than anywhere out west or up north. He would not hear it. He was just going to say that he was right and we were all wrong. It didn't matter what our statistics said. It doesn't matter what the government says or anything. He was right and we were wrong. And up until that point, I didn't view him as a potential MAGA person. But the more defensive he became, the more I was convinced that he was. And when I said that Tennessee was fascist, he really came unglued. And I was like, we are. I mean, we're banning books in school systems. They're targeting the transgender community. They've banned abortion. Women's rights are on the brink of extinction here. He just acted like none of it affected him. And the only thing that he was bothered by was that we said that Tennessee has a higher murder rate than California and Los Angeles. It was something to behold, sinners and saints. It really was. I don't think if you can even provide them with the evidence that they can clarify for themselves, they won't believe it. They are going to deny, and they have just set it in their mind that they are right and we are wrong. So anyway, they both left, and the one was acting like, oh no, we're not leaving together, but they did. And that's all well and good. Knock yourself out. Turds of a MAGA stick together, I guess. I'm being mean there. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. But, But when they left, my friends and I, we were chatting there, and I was just like, oh my God, he is going to learn the hard way about people in the area that he lives. And it's going to be a sad thing. But you know what? We provided him with the evidence. He could have accepted it. He could have looked it up for himself. I provided it, and that's all you can do, right? Right. Everybody talks about how people behave differently when we have a full moon. And folks, if you ever worked in the service industry, especially a bar or a club on a night with a full moon, you all know that there's some truth to it. People behave differently with a full moon. Well, if you have 2 full moons in a month, the second full moon is called a blue moon. Well, just guess what's happening this weekend.
Oh, gee, I don't know.
It's a blue moon. It is going to be a crazy weekend, to say the least. It could be the craziest weekend so far this year. But it would be very hard just to beat a previous happy hour just a week ago. Y'all want to hear what happened? Well, fasten your seatbelts. I have to say right up front that I love a diverse group of people to chat with, to hang out with, and maybe even to hook up with. And it's always great to see people of color, different cultures, women, all types of gays coming in for happy hour. And sometimes it can be unexpected as to the type of person that walks through that door. We were sitting there, Joe and I, and we were getting our drink on. It was early in the evening, and it wasn't a very big crowd yet. Some of the other boys that we know were at the other end of the bar, and they were chatting and drinking. Alex was entertaining us as our bartender. One of the things about me that I don't think it's unusual, but maybe it's just one of my proclivities, I always have the need to sit in a position that I can see the entrance. I want to see who's coming through those front doors. It may be a product of our society, with mass shootings like at Pulse. At least if you were sitting where you could see the door, you could see what is coming in and maybe buy yourself a few seconds if something violent was to happen. But anyway, that's my position anywhere. That's what I do anywhere I go, if I can. I mean, I prefer at restaurants to be facing at least toward the front entrance where I can see people coming and going. So I basically see everybody that comes into the bar. And sometimes it is the most surprising character or person that walks through that door. We were getting our drink on and just chilling and talking a little and enjoying, the atmosphere as people start to come in. I look over as the door opens and this person comes in, and how to describe it? Well, it was a guy wearing a black hoodie. His face was made up like the Crow, the white makeup with black accents on it. And of course, that's something you don't see every day outside of like a certain kind of party or event the bar is having, or Halloween. So when he came through the door, and I think people saw my surprised reaction, several people looked back. I guess the thing is, he did not have the hoodie up over his head, so it didn't look as ominous. And to be quite honest, he wasn't the tallest guy in the world. I think if he had been bigger, it would have been more intimidating. So he walks past where Joe and I are sitting, goes to the back room where the pool table is, and we kind of look at each other, and I'm like, well, that's different. And it just seemed like that was going to set the tone for the night. Well, he comes back out from the pool room, and he basically sits at the corner of the bar near us. And he decides to make conversation. And he just says, well, I guess you can tell that I'm goth. And I know about the goth scene here, but is there any other places besides here that I could go tonight, even though there's no planned events? Some places that would make me feel welcome? And really didn't have an answer for him. But he was trying to convince us of his gothic nature and how much he loved doing it, that apparently there's a split in that community. And he said, well, what about the other club in town? And I was just like, well, you're welcome to go if you want. I sure as hell wouldn't. And we explained the story of how the person who owns that club is nothing but scum, lying, bitch-ass fuckface asshole type person, and you really can't turn your back on that person at all. Thankfully, another one of my friends came in and he offered him a couple of suggestions that he would feel comfortable in. When he left, we were just chatting about being as young as he is and trying to find your way. Just the fact that he sat near us, I guess he felt comfortable enough and wanting to talk about it. Despite the weirdness of the situation, it was kind of nice to explain to him that, yeah, you could try these other places, but you're always going to be welcome and safe here. Of course, every bar, everywhere, people throw shade and there's attitude and all that. But at the heart of where I go, we always try to make everyone feel welcome unless you're a MAGA person. If you're a Trumper, fuck you, go to hell. Because every time some of them are there in the bar, they try to cause trouble. And what I mean by that is that they feel the need to try to proclaim their devotion to the MAGA cult and Trump, the orange turd, as a way of just provoking everybody, because they know that 99% of the gay community despises him and despises the Republican Party for what it's trying to do to our community. And they will try to say we're the ones being divisive, but it's not us the ones bringing up that asshole and his policies that have wreaked havoc within our community. And that's why they're not welcome. They don't want to come in to socialize and flirt and all that. They want to try to impose their proclamations upon all of us as if we're going to bow down and basically say, oh my God, you're all right, and we've been so wrong and we're all converted. God is a spaghetti monster, blah, 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 you know. Jesus, that's getting me pissed off just thinking about it. But for the boy dressed like the Crow, I think for him, we've made him feel a little bit better about him expressing himself the way he wants to, and that there's always going to be people that are assholes about it, but there are also people that will accept you no matter what you want to do. They will accept you for who you are, for what you want to do, for how you want to express yourself, and that's that. He may have been surprised that he didn't get a freaked out reaction when he walked through the door, but no offense to him on that. In the gay community, bitches, we've seen it all, haven't we? We really have. Then there was a young lady that was sitting down just from him, and she was reading a book. It's kind of rare that you have someone actually reading a physical book in their hands at the bar. It was one of the first times I've ever seen that, and it was quite interesting. And the wildness just continued all night long. There were just random, unique people. There was craziness. There was anger. There was an argument. There was just everything that you can think of. You could check every box on the list, and it happened that night. It really did make for an interesting night, for sure. But I think I will remember the guy with the crow makeup, like from the movie, if I didn't make that clear earlier. He will be, I just feel like he really just wanted someone to accept him. And we definitely need more of that in our community. I get that we throw shade and we have a gossip and all that shit. We do. But at the end of the day, we should all be able to defend and protect and accept each other. That may sound like hypocrisy when I talk about not accepting someone who is a member of the cult of the orange turd, but that is extenuating circumstances like I just explained. They're always looking for confrontation. They don't want acceptance. They want capitulation. They want us to cater to them and accept everything that they have to say. And when it comes to our community, when it comes to anti-gay, anti-immigrant, anti-woman, anti-minorities, no, that is the line that you cannot cross with me. That is it right there. I don't care what they say. They can say that they're not racist, they're not homophobic, they're not anti-trans. They vote for people that are vocally anti all of us. And if you can vote for that person, it probably means that you are just like them. You sure as hell aren't voting for the orange turd because of his economic genius, now are you? Jesus Jessica Parker. I just think that if the young man with his crow makeup had walked into a bar full of MAGA turd cultists, he would have been shunned, mocked, ridiculed, dismissed, and probably asked to leave because they tolerate nothing different. Remember, they're opposed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. They don't believe in any of that. He would be just one example of a person that would not be welcome at many places in the orange turd world. I gotta say, have you all ever tried this product called Liquid IV? It comes in powder form and you mix it with water. It is a great way to rehydrate, especially if you had too much to drink the night before. Why am I bringing it up? Because I'm having one right now. So when I say to you, I was drunk as shit last night, you can take that to the bank. I was drunk as fuck. And I had a blast. It was great. Good times, great oldies. And when I mean by oldies, I'm not talking about music, bitches. I have to make a confession, sinners and saints. I always say that age is a state of mind, and we shouldn't really worry about that number. But I am so defensive about my age. The reason being is, and let's be honest about our community, people will act like you should be dead right after you turn 30, when most of your life will be after you turn 30. And that includes all of us in the gay community. This idea that you can't be attracted to someone that's older seems ridiculous. But I'm not helping things, am I? By refusing to tell people how old I am. I mean, people guess, and boy, you have to agree, when someone guesses wrong and guesses too high, it hurts a little. You think, oh my God, do I look like I'm that old? But then again, what does that old really mean? But in my defense, my view of age comes from the people in my family that I've been exposed to. So if I tell you that my grandmother, her health took a bad turn at around the age of 45, and she steadily declined in health until she died when she was 62, and she looked like an old person, I equated a person in their 50s and early 60s as old, when we all know damn well that people that age aren't really old. Old is a state of mind, but it's also being defined unfairly, in my opinion, when it comes to things like relationships, friendships, etc. I mean, I've asked people, do I look this old or that old, and so on and so forth. And you would have to compare it to other people, right? So I don't know how they do that. How do you make that comparison? Do you really judge a person just by their age, that number? And is that really fair? Could you be missing out on something? Now, I also know someone who's 30 dating someone who, let's say, is 60. I get the fear in that because based on the odds, that person who is 60 is going to die way before the person who's 30. That younger person would have to live without you for quite some time. And that was always, I guess, my fear of getting seriously involved with someone who was significantly older. I have no problem hooking up with a guy, no matter what the age. If I find you hot, you're hot, and it doesn't matter what that number is. But I would be afraid to fall in love with someone knowing that they could die much sooner than I would want them to. Now, granted, there's no guarantees either way. You could be both the age of 30 and get married, and one of you could die the next day, and you have to go on with your life. So my argument, I guess, is based on how to put it. If the law of averages applies and everything goes forward without any incidences, without health scares or car accidents or anything like that, then that older person would die much earlier than the younger person would. Does that make sense? Probably not. I need a drink. Well, if I'm being truthful, I actually need some dick. But, I can get the drink. Dick's a little bit harder to get these days. Which is a fascinating thing, too. The assumption about gay men is that we're just hooking up all the time. We see a dick, we want to suck it, regardless of what it's attached to. But come to the gay bar. come to a club and watch for a little while, and you'll see that most of us tend to strike out virtually every night. It's not as easy as just going, hey, you got a dick? Whip it out. Let me suck it. I wish it was. Well, there I go again, though. That can equate to age differences. Some of the younger guys will not even fathom the notion of letting an old man suck their dick. I guess it feels like a perversion, doesn't it? I can see that. I can see that part of it. I can see the aspects of it looking like a father-son type thing, and that could be a total turnoff to most people. And I agree with that. It would be a turnoff to me. I remember one of my recent encounters where the guy kept saying, "Daddy, Daddy," at certain points, and I'm like, stop it. God, I don't want to hear that. I'm not a daddy. Well, I can be a daddy if I'm in that mood. I was not in that mood that time. Now, if you want, you can address me as sir, and I'd be okay with that. But that's when you're kind of role-playing, too. I just can't use that role-play when it comes to daddy-son things. Oh, God, it just makes me a little bit uncomfortable, shall we say. Oh, by the way, last week I asked you all for positive vibes that Mr. Right would come in and take my breath away and throat fuck me till I couldn't speak. Well, obviously you all didn't send positive enough vibes because that didn't happen. I mean, come on, sinners, saints, bitches, whores, sluts, skanks. You can give me a little positivity, can't you? And give me a little more positivity. Let's try it again this week. Send me some positive vibes. Let's find me, I almost said a man. And I do mean a man, but I don't want a man in a relationship. I just want dick to suck. Is that really too much to ask? I don't think so. And on that note, thanks for hanging out with me and chatting it up for a little while. I really do appreciate it. I still can't get over how time flies when we're having our little weekly chats. It's really amazing, isn't it? But always a good time. At least for me it is. I hope it is for all of you. So go out there and have some fun. And as always, take life by the balls and be real. We'll see you soon.